I used to think that consistency meant doing more. More pushing, more forcing, more proving. But that's exactly why I kept quitting. So I asked myself this question. What if the key to consistency is actually doing less? So I've been running this experiment on myself for the past 2 years. I want to show you exactly what I found. We make staying consistent so hard on ourselves. We design routines that look great on paper but collapse the moment that life gets messy. Then we assume that we lack willpower, and then the guilt cycle starts all over again. But consistency isn't built from guilt, it's built from safety. Your brain's not gonna repeat something that feels punishing and makes you feel miserable. It repeats what feels achievable and rewarding. For example, I've wanted to get consistent with exercise for the last 10 years. I wanted to be a fitness girly. I wanted to have a routine that actually stuck, something that I could be consistent with, and something that I enjoyed doing. I literally tried everything. So in 2020, I started walking on my lunch breaks. Then I started doing body weight and dumbbell exercises with the Sweat app. Then for a while, I tracked every single thing that I ate into my FitnessPal, all the macros, all the calories. I was doing 30 minutes of weight training several times a week. I was eating less and working out more, and I felt absolutely awful. I hated every single second of it, and I didn't see results. I actually gained more weight and lost muscle and lost strength and just lost my interest in being physically active. So every single time I tried to add more to my fitness and exercise routine, like more structure, more routines, more tracking, it all fell apart. And I kept thinking that the problem was me, that I didn't have any willpower to do it. But I was completely wrong. The bar was just way too high. So there's a behavioral model called the FOG behavior model. It says that any behavior needs 3 things: motivation, ability, and a prompt. Everyone focuses on the motivation part, but motivation rises and falls. It's not reliable. Ability is how easy the task is, and that's what you can control. So in the past, every routine or piece of structure that I built required such high motivation to start. It was such a high entry to get into that fitness routine that it failed. And the second that life got messy, that structure, that routine just disappeared. So I stopped trying to build the perfect routine, and I asked myself one question. What is the absolute smallest thing that I can do to commit to this exercise and fitness goal every single day? And the answer to that was 10 minutes. 10 minutes of intentional movement every single day. Whatever I felt like doing. So some days that was yoga. Some days that was taking a walk. Some days that was throwing on a Grow with Joe YouTube video or some other exercise video that I found on YouTube. My brain just couldn't argue with 10 minutes. 10 minutes was so easy. It was so doable. And no matter how crazy life got or how busy my schedule was or how tired I was, it's only 10 minutes. It's only 10 minutes. That's what I kept repeating to myself. Within the first month of doing that, I noticed that the 10 minutes started turning into 15. Sometimes it was 20 minutes, and sometimes it was 30 minutes, and that was naturally happening without me trying to push myself. That was me wanting to do it and enjoying doing it. I showed up enough times with that 10-minute goal that movement no longer felt like punishment. It no longer felt complicated or like it was too much. And I'm gonna be completely honest here in this example that sometimes my sciatica flares up and I don't get to do that 10 minutes every day. But because I built the bare minimum entry to make that a habit, even the days that I skip, I still manage to do 2 to 3, sometimes 4 days a week of that 10 minutes of intentional movement. So the floor held even when things got messy. And since I was able to gain consistency with that bare minimum, I have gotten better sleep. I've avoided the afternoon crashes. I have better energy, and I've lost 25 pounds. So reading was different than the exercise habit. I wanted to be a reader, and that distinction really mattered to me. So I was a reader as a kid, and then high school and college, being forced to read certain things for the curriculum really ruined my love of reading. And then I had a back and forth relationship with reading. I read a lot in 2018. Then I read 1 or 2 books over the next couple years. And then in 2020, of course, I picked it back up again and I read a lot of books, but I've never really have been consistent with it. So I gave myself a rule that I was going to read 1 page of a book every night before bed. James Clear writes about identity-based habits in his book Atomic Habits. The idea is that every small action is a vote for the kind of person that you're becoming. That's exactly what 1 page a night felt like. A vote that every single night when I read 1 page, I am a reader. And that dopamine piece from hitting that 1 page every night was what helped to make that habit grow. Every time you finish a small, clear task, the brain gives you a signal, great job, let's do it again. So 1 page turned into 3, 3 turned into several, and by the end of 2025, I had read 24 books. So now I typically read 30 to 60 minutes almost every single night. It doesn't feel like discipline, it doesn't feel force, it just feels like a ritual at the end of my day. So if you want to use the bare minimum to create consistent habits, here's how to start. Pick 1 thing that matters to you and shrink it until it almost feels too easy. Then decide exactly where and when you're going to do it. Look at what you already do in a day and attach it there. I wash my face and do my skincare at night before bed. That became the trigger for reading. So I knew once that was over and I went to go crawl into bed, I'm grabbing my Kindle. In the morning, when I wake up, the first thing I do is feed my cat. And feeding my cat was the trigger for me to go put on my exercise clothes to go and do my 10 minutes of intentional movement. If you need a physical reminder, then use one. So for example, if you want to start taking a supplement, put it near your toothbrush. You brush your teeth every day. You brush your teeth at night and in the morning. So put it there because that toothbrush is going to be the trigger to, here's my toothbrush, here's my bottle of supplement. We're going to take these 2 and mold them together, attach it to an existing habits, and then you're going to start being able to take that supplement consistently every single day when you brush your teeth. Let the momentum raise the bar on its own. Don't force it. The fog model, the dopamine loop, identity-based habits, they all point to the same thing. Lower the bar until your brain stops fighting it. Show up as the person that you want to be, even if that version of you only shows up for 10 minutes. The bare minimum isn't the fallback plan, it is the plan. So let me know in the comments below, what is the 1 thing that you're gonna shrink down and experiment with? Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to connect with you in the next video.